Hi everybody, it's Geordie from Geordie's Cards. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm pulling out my gorgeous new Concord and 9th goodies to create a couple of cards today. These could be birthday cards or just friendship cards or just to say hi. I just kind of really wanted to make these because I thought they were beautiful. So I've got the Friendly Florals stamp and die set. I got these as a combination. You can buy them separately as well, but I bought them together. I'm also using the Stitched Vine card front die, which is absolutely beautiful. So I have gone ahead and die cut all of my things out, and I am going to use the same coloured ink as the cardstock that I've used just to create a little bit more dimension on my die cut pieces. So for this flower, I've got Ballet slippers and I'm using Ballet slippers ink. Now these are all Concord and 9th inks and Concord and 9th cardstocks that I'm using today. And they are beautiful colours, really, really lovely. I do adore the Concord and 9th cardstock and ink range. I think they're absolutely beautiful. And they work really, really well for these kind of die cut images that I've got here. So I'm going to do the same for all of my images. I'm not going to show you all of them because I'm saying images, they're die cuts. I'm not going to show everything because it's all the same, but I've used Honeysuckle here with Honeysuckle ink. The kind of peachy orangey colours are Grapefruit and Sorbet. And then I've got Stardust and Buttercup for the centres of my flowers. And I have Parsley and Clover for the leaves and stems of my flowers. And now it's just a case of assembling them. So I've gone ahead and inked all of those. You don't need to do this. I don't know, I like doing it. It adds a little bit more dimension. You don't really need to do it because you are going to layer everything. So there's going to be plenty of dimension and changes in color anyway, but I just a bit extra. So I wanted to be a bit extra. So all you do is layer the kind of more detailed flower piece on top of the base, and then you add the kind of yellow pollen part to the top. And it is so easy to line all this up because there's kind of little ridges on the top part of the flower that all line up together. And then it's just a case of attaching them to the stem. So you've got that nice dot at the top of the stem where you can attach the glue. So I've done that for all of my flowers, and now I have my little bees. There's a couple of different style bees in this set. I'm using the larger ones, and you just, again, layer everything on top and everything fits nicely. Now I've used Buttercup and black cardstock for my bees, and then for the wings I've used some Lawn Fawn Vellum. I just kind of thought the vellum looked a little bit transparent, so it gives it a nice look. I've gone ahead and die cut out these friend pieces, so I've done the kind of shadow part in white and then the actual letter part in black. And I just really like the look of this. I'd seen this on the Concord and 9th website, I believe, and I thought it looked really striking in the black and white. But obviously you can do lots and lots of different colours, and you can get it to match your card whatever way you want. I just really thought this was really pretty. And it comes with kind of like the F separated from the rest of the friend word. And then just remember the little tiny dot for the eye, which was very tricky, and I ended up having to pull out my tweezers for this one. So once I had glued all of my pieces together, it was time to work on the background. Now this kind of oval shaped piece comes in the die set, and it's meant to be used as kind of the background. So I've cut it from some Seaglass cardstock, and I'm using Seaglass ink just to add a bit of a gradient from the bottom where it's going to be a bit darker up to the top where it's going to be lighter. And I just wanted to kind of just create a bit of a gradient, just to add a little bit more interest to it. Now, again, these inks can look a little bit splotchy to begin with, but they dry back beautifully. So, don't get too stressed if you've got a few, like you can see some darker patches on mine. It does really even out nicely, and it blends out beautifully in the end, but it can look a little bit splotchy at present time as you're doing it. So but don't be afraid of that. It will dry back and it will kind of smooth out as it dries, which I really like. So again, I'm just doing the same for both. I'm obviously creating 2 cards today. I thought because these were die cuts, it was quite easy just to do doubles of everything and create 2 cards. And it's a nice way to kind of create multiples. You could obviously do loads if you wanted to. The die cutting takes a little bit of time, but once the die cutting is done, it's very quick and easy to put everything together. So I've gone ahead and stamped out To My Lovely at the top. Now these are beautiful curved sentiments that fit perfectly onto that arched piece. And it's just another detail that I really, really love. And I'm just kind of figuring out where everything is going to go and where I'm going to place everything and kind of how far down my flowers need to sit. And then I'll go ahead and glue everything on. So I did lay them out slightly differently for each card, not much. I just kind of placed the bees slightly differently and kind of the angle of one of the flowers a little bit differently on the 2 cards, but otherwise they're pretty much exactly the same. So I'm just using my liquid glue and I'm starting with the flower that's kind of going to be behind the other one at the back, and I'm placing that one down first, and then I can kind of pop my other one on top. And I'm going to use a bit of foam adhesive on my little bees so that they're popped up a little bit from the base of the card. So again, just figuring out where it's going and making sure I can fit it all on nicely, and then just adding some liquid glue. I'm kind of sticking everything down quite flat today. The only thing that's going to be popped up is the little bee, just to add a little bit of dimension. So you can see that one of the stems is kind of overhanging. That's fine. I'm just going to trim that off, and kind of the join where the 2 flowers kind of meet will be covered by that friend sentiment. So it reads, To My Lovely Friend. And as I say, I just thought this would be really nice, just as a nice thank you card, as a birthday card. Just to kind of say hello to somebody or let them know that you're thinking about them. And I just thought that worked really, really well. There are lots of other sentiments to choose from in this set, and there is also some banners with words that fit into the banners as well. So there's a lot to choose from in terms of the sentiments, but I just really like this one, and I love that die cut friend word, which I just thought was really, really striking. So there you go. I've attached my bees with some foam squares. And you can see I've cut this stitched vine panel from some white cardstock, and it's so pretty, and I thought it tied in really, really well with the florals, and it just gives a nice bit of interest to the back of the card, so it's not completely plain, but doesn't detract too much from the beautiful flowers, which are going to be kind of the stars of the show. And I'm just, again, gluing everything flat. So I'm gluing that kind of oval panel flat down onto that white card base even. And I'm trying to make sure that it's fairly centered. I don't get it perfect as always, but I think it works out fine. And yeah, just kind of popping that on there. And then I was debating putting the sentiment, the friend sentiment, up on some foam, and I decided against it because it's double layered anyway. It's got a bit of thickness to it, so it's got a little bit of height and texture. So I decided just to add it flat with some liquid glue, and again, just trying to make sure it's relatively centered and even, and then I'm just going to pop my block down on top of it to hold it in place while it dries. So once this is done, all that was left to do was to place it onto a white card base. So I just used Lawn Fawn 110-pound cardstock for my bases, and I did a top folding card base at 5.5 by 4.25. I'm not stamping anything inside at the moment, but I'm just adding a little bit of extra flourish with some Nouveau drops in white, just adding 3 little drops on each card, just to add a little bit of something more, because why not? And that's it. Those are my cards finished. I'm really happy with how they turned out, and they were so easy to put together. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Please do subscribe to my channel. I would love to see you come back again. Leave a comment down below. I would love to hear from you. And thank you so much for joining me today. Take care.